Hey, I got a good quote for you. Fidel Castro, he said this: capitalism is repugnant, it causes war, it causes competition. Kind of sounds like the prime mistake of Canada. It causes competition. Let's not do that. Let's socialize everything that moves, and communism is coming up next. And wow, isn't that fun? It drives me crazy. That same guy, the prime mistake of Canada, says this: hey, all those allegations about the SNC-Lavalin situation, they're false. That's a big surprise, I think, to the commissioner, ethics commissioner, who ruled otherwise, and all the people who looked at the documentation and said, you're a liar now. You're the only prime minister in Canada's history that's ever been charged with this and found guilty and gotcha. And he said, oh, but that's false. You know, everything that guy does, I tell you, he's kind of like Teflon, but eventually you got to take that Teflon frying pan and toss it out. It's time. There was an opportunity recently in the Canadian election, but it didn't happen. It's going to happen again soon. The history of coalition governments and minority governments in Canada is, I think, the longest the government's ever lasted in the last 100 and some odd years is a year and a half, more or less. So going on stats and history, there's probably hope. There's hope that there'll be another election soon and you can turf this guy, as long as there's a good leader on the other side, and the other parties, and we'll see how that plays out. But you know what? More than 50,000 illegal border crossers have entered Canada, and they've cost taxpayers upwards to $2 billion, and the prime minister says, that's good, keep them coming, but just make sure they're from different countries and they don't have any qualifications, and make sure none of them are white. That's more or less what he's saying. I don't care. Nobody cares. But why don't you like white folk? On and on we go. Elections Canada, you know what? They're supposed to be non-political, yes? And talking about colors, it's interesting because I watched their ads and they said, make sure you vote. And they had a parade of people, and this is actually coming from several of our viewers who have written the similar things, and I've kind of put it all together. And all of these ads, there was nobody white, and I thought, wow, you're right. It's not very representative of the country. And even Mr. Scheer in his ads was doing the same thing. He had mixed races and black people and Indians and Asians and so on. Rarely, if ever, was there a white person. I'm talking out of dozens of people that were continually paraded across the backdrop. And what's up with that? There are some white voters, I think. Celanese Corporation, they're out of Irving, I think that's California, and recently they've said we have a market value of almost $15 billion, and now they're going to do a whole bunch of moving within the company. And I found this interesting. Nothing turns on this, but I just wanted to share with you. Feels like 100 years ago, I went to a hockey game and everyone was sitting there just yelling and screaming and kind of bored. So I went to see Celanese in Edmonton, Canada. This has got to be 30 years ago. And they make all of the lining on inside of jackets and so on. And I did a deal with them, and I bought all these things and made them into little flags and went and sold advertising. And every hockey game in Canada, people were waving them and saying, go team go, and I made all the money from selling the advertising. Ha ha, just sharing with you. Okay, what else have I got? That's it. I got nothing else. You come back tomorrow, we'll have more for you. We'll try to have interesting stuff for you with solutions too from the right. See ya.